can also, if you have someone behind you, bring this straight back and turning your shoulders and hips into it, or even better, turning into almost like what you would do with a back fist or a spinning elbow for self-defense. Close quarter confrontation self-defense tool. This is also known as the side handle baton or the PR-24. This was originally made by Monadnock. They have knockoffs now, but Monadnock is still the golden standard. That's what this is. This is one that I got when I was 19 years old as a fresh military policeman in the Marine Corps. Anyway, I wanted to show you how to use this close quarters confrontation tool. This is a controlled device that you see law enforcement use around the world. It still exists. There's still some police departments that carry them. This is usually carried on a duty belt, and it can be pulled out and used as a straight baton. And as a straight baton, you have thrusting with one hand and two hands, shoving with both hands, and then of course these striking motions that you have coming off of the shoulders, coming down at the different angles. And this is extremely heavy. This is a very hard, dense plastic. Hello, Garen, it's good to see you. And this is very effective in, Mitchell says he carried this in the police department. This is very effective in controlling somebody, using it both as a striking device, as I showed you the first way here. You can also turn it around here, and then this big knot right there becomes almost like a hammer or a hatchet, and you can strike with it this way. I saw in some of the civil unrest that was happening in France recently, just in the last few weeks, they had massive amounts of social unrest, people in the streets, and the police with their riot gear on. There's some iconic pictures from that. The fires burning in the background where they're torching everything, and law enforcement's out there, and a lot of those guys were carrying these. And I want to show you how you use it in a close quarter combat situation, why it's so effective. And I like to carry it in this position. This is the way that I feel that it's the most effective for me, in my experience. Now you can swing it like this. It's based on the tonfa, the Japanese or Okinawan tonfa. So if you know how to use that, you can see that you have all of these turning motions, and you simply hold here. You make like a circle with your finger so that it can't come out. Trust me, it's come out of my hand before, and you break things with it because it is so heavy and it moves so fast. But you have to train with it a lot to be able to do these turning motions coming out and back. And so that's the first way that you would train with it. You would train with it in the right hand. Hello, Matthew, it's good to see you. And train with it in the left hand so that you're doing both hands evenly. You always want to be able to defend yourself evenly with the right hand and the left hand in case you have an injury, or you have to change hands for some reason, or you're using one hand to create distance and keep them off, and be able to strike and move. But you want to be able to use both hands evenly. So practice with the right and the left. So the first motion is just this coming across the body, and you're doing two things. You're pushing it out and you're pulling it across. So it's coming out and then it's swinging it across. And I get this question a lot when we do things like the nunchucks, where it's swinging, and it's how do you hit yourself without hurting? And two things happen. One is if you do it properly with a full extension, and then you bring that arm all the way around, when it hits your body, it's gonna gently wrap around the back. And two, it is gonna hurt at first. You're gonna feel it a little bit as you go through, but guess what, Buttercup? You're gonna toughen up, and then it's not gonna be such a big deal. So pay your dues, earn your lumps, and smack your kidneys a little bit as you push it out and bring it across. Now the second way is going to be coming from here in this position and then straight up. Think about under his chin, or maybe he's reaching, and you're going to smash. Again, the key is make sure that you have this nice and tight. Now, the next thing that I want you to see is that you can, again, hold it in this position, and you can practice all of your basic angular strikes, coming first off of the shoulders and then coming across the body and back, your horizontal strikes. And it might make sense to use it in this position. Now that's losing a lot of the value. The whole purpose of the side handle baton is to create massive amounts of force because of the leverage that's involved. But you can use it in those ways as a traditional baton, which is why you can see there they have the handle here so that it improves your grip. And when your hands get sweaty, bloody, whatever, for self-defense, then this smooth part becomes slipperier. This allows it not to be so slippery. Now, using it for these basic angles, you practice close in combat self-defense. If he's closing the distance really fast, I want you to get 2 hands on it and then just thrust and stick this whole thing in. Hello, Rick. It's good to see you. Rick, thanks for all the comments you make on the videos. Glad to see your training all the time. But you bring this in and up. Think in and up. Again, 2 directions. Bend those knees first and then thrust using your entire body explosively, using this little tip here. All of the power in your body generates and travels through your arms, your legs, your whole body, and concentrates there at the very tip, so that you're sticking that into the soft tissue in his body, anywhere in the center line. Think about what you can remove or destroy: his eyesight, his ability to see, breathe temporarily. This is permanent. Watch striking somebody there. If it's just, if it's not life or death, if it is life or death, that's a fair target. And then coming down here. Michael asks, is a PR-24 legal in California? Michael, I don't know. You'll have to do your own research. When I have ordered these in the past, I've never seen the warnings that I used to see. A long time ago, you used to not be able to buy these or things like this, because the companies that sold them only sold to police departments or security guard companies, and you had to be vetted first. They had to make sure that you're legit and that you should be able to carry it. But now everybody sells everything, so it seems like you can get it. And I don't know if it's legal or not to carry on the street, but this is something that you can put in your house, right? If you're worried, if you live in an area, especially where there are a lot of break-ins, random break-ins, and you need to have something in your house in addition to one of these, or you don't want to carry one of these, you can carry one of these. And this is a force multiplier. This is great for tight, confined spaces. Now, I showed you the swings. I showed you using it in the traditional way that you would use a regular baton or a police baton. Now I want to show you my favorite strikes, which are when you hold it in this position. And before we get there, I want you to see that that covers, you can see how long that is. I've got long arms, big forearms. That covers your entire forearm from side to side. Yeah, you can carry it in your car as a tire thumper. You're going to have a hard time explaining that to a police officer. All police officers know what this is, so you're not going to be able to get away with saying, oh, it's just a tire thumper. They're going to say, yeah, right. And it's all about intent with police officers. You put this like down under your front seat and they catch you with it in the front seat, they say, you know, you put that under there so you can pull it out. That's a concealed weapon, and that can get you in trouble. So, and I'm not a lawyer, so don't take my legal advice. I would not do that. If I carry this in my car, it goes, actually I have one of these in the car, in the back, with all my bug out gear in my get home bag. So my get home bag is the bag that I carry, and it has 3 tourniquets in it. It has a big medical kit for all different types of accidents that might happen in case I come up upon a roadside, you know, somebody's been in a car accident, and you have to think about, you know, what happens and you should have some training in first aid, medicine, something we're getting ready to do again at the school to refresh every year, because you treat burns differently than you treat a gushing, bleeding wound, and you have to know how to stop the bleed, and you should know how to use a basic tourniquet, basic things like that. And you can learn those, you can learn most of that online, or you can go to a local course. A lot of those are free, and then just keep a little medical kit in the bag. So I have that with all my other self-defense tools, and one of these that fits on the side of that bag. So if I have to, my car won't start, or there's a lot of traffic between me and where I need to get, and it looks like I'm not gonna be able to get there by car for a while, I can beat feet, I can throw my backpack on. I've got this in there. That's an extra layer of self-protection if I need it, right? And I also do this kind of stuff, but not everybody does, and not everybody needs to. Anyway, so I wanted you to see this covers from one side to the other side, and that allows you to intercept, and you just put one hand on the back of the other one here. Hello, NYC Prepper, it's good to see you. You can support this hand, and then this will take a lot of force, and it's better to hit this than it is to hit your arm. Someone's swinging a baseball bat or a tire iron, a golf club, or a cane at your head, then you can intercept with one of these, and then you put your other hand here, and you can block. If you have to do your flinch block and you block behind it, you can absorb most of that strike and then come straight in and hit him there, or smashing this way, smashing down on top, or one of those swinging things. Now let's say it's close quarters, you're in tight, there's not a lot of room, or there are multiple people, they're all around you. My favorite strike of all these strikes is just a straightforward thrust. And it's always gonna be a thrust. I like a straight punch, I like a straight palm strike, I like to stick my elbow in his face for self-defense, And when I'm carrying the PR24, what I want you to see is that you can do this simple straight line coming from your center line, turning around your spine, turning your shoulders and hips, and keep this as tight into the body as possible. Meaning, don't bring it out here because it puts too much pressure on your shoulder's not strong enough, not to take the full brunt of a full-size grown man. I shouldn't say, I was thinking like some of the Antifa kids that you see, and they're not kids, they're all adults, but some of those thugs, they don't look full size. A lot of them seem pretty tiny, but Garen says in a straight blast, but you still want to be able to stop somebody who's coming in. And if you stick that straight forward, and it's as simple as if you just did a horizontal punch, like a kung fu punch. Hello, G. Carlton, it's good to see you. G. Carlton says he's been practicing close quarter Joe strikes. Yeah, we're gonna do close quarters for the next couple of weeks. I'm in this mindset right now. What happens in the doorway, what happens on a bus, what happens in a subway, what happens in a train. Hello, Alita, it's good to see you. And so we're talking close quarters in the next few weeks. But I want you to see this center line thrust. And so from here, if you stick it between his belly button and his private parts in this thin fascia muscle, you will stick him on the ground. I've been hit there with one of these, kind of medium speed, medium power, and I wanted to puke. I thought for sure I had a hernia. I didn't want to walk for about 20 minutes after that as we were doing training with this a long time ago. And every once in a while, I'll get a back kick there, or I'll get a front kick there, or you get hit there just by a glancing blow. That does a lot of damage because it puts that muscle into a spasm and you can't get up very easily. So your goal is to keep it low. He's up here barking in your face, your hands up, hey, back up, you're too close, and you just thrust straight in. You're gonna generate so much force and power into that rounded tip right there, which is this extremely dense, hard polymer plastic. And that, you see, there it is, Monadnock. I always loved that name too, Monadnock. Monadnock makes great self-defense tools. But you stick that and you come right into the center line of the body, and you just think anywhere from here straight up to his face, right, to his eyes. You can go in to the body and you can hit him multiple times. There's a technique called the sewing machine where if you use a blade, you would come up and under, and your hand actually turns this way, and your other hand is keeping him off, and it's a hard one to stop. And you can do a similar thing with this, just down and up and strike and hit him multiple times for self-defense in close quarters if he won't back up, if he won't get away from you. You can also, if you have someone behind you, bring this straight back and turning your shoulders and hips into it, or even better, turning into almost like what you would do with a back fist or a spinning elbow. You would turn and strike, and that hard piece of plastic polymer is going to do a lot of damage because you're creating so much force, and it's distributed in a small line here into his jaw, into his temple for self-defense, into the neck, and you're going to quickly drop somebody and put them on the ground. You can also turn and just bring it down and into his body, hitting anything. You don't have to worry too much about what you hit. You're going to do a lot of damage, and you're going to hit something in that line. And even if you just hit the inside of his thigh, if you hit in his stomach. Hello, Ari Sanders. Yeah, the sewing machine. It's very effective. So you're coming straight in, turning, and this is always going to be the key with a self-defense tool, especially like this, is you want to turn your shoulders and hips. And then if you also take a small step, when you do that, you're going to create massive amounts of acceleration with that small step. So it's the three things. It's the extension, it's the rotation of your shoulders and hips, and it's that small step that brings all the weight of your body into his nose, his teeth, his throat, his solar plexus, his the muscle between the belly button and the privates. I'm not sure what that's technically called, or into his groin, his private parts themselves. Smash them in there, right? If you're sitting, this is a great tool for self-defense. Sitting, because you can just carry it in this position. And then from this seated position, it doesn't take a lot. Just turning through your shoulders, in this case, you can create a lot of force and knock somebody off of you. And if they come down on you, again, you can block with this, pushing them off, and then thrusting with two hands, coming in and creating some damage. And then when you have room, you can do all of these other fancy spins, bringing it through that way, And this way, just don't let it go. Make sure you have your first finger and your thumb in a tight grip. And then of course, the other way, as I showed you at the very beginning, you can use it. Hello, Robert Roberts in Reno. Robert, I love Reno. You try to always forget about there's a Marine Corps base up in the mountains. We either go to Tahoe or Reno. I don't know why I can never think of that. Anyway, it was a cold weather training place. I was there for just a couple months one year, but I loved it. And I loved going to Reno a lot on the weekends. Just a really cool, simple little town. Reminded me of Dayton, Ohio, where I lived for a long time. You know, a small little town, but of course Reno's got gambling. So it's dangerous for young Marines who've got money and nothing to do with it. And you waste it at the casinos. But that's a good lesson. You gotta learn that lesson sometime, right? That's why I don't gamble. I don't ever do that again. Anyway, thrusting, striking, holding it here. Pickle Meadows, beautiful. Pickle Meadows, that whole area, the Sierra Nevadas, just a really cool place. Mount Shasta, bringing it through here, bring it through here. Oh, and the other thing that I didn't really show you, and I can't show you because I don't have anybody here with me, and I don't teach these anymore anyway, there are a lot of come-along techniques, and those of you who are police officers who did have the training on these know how to wrap somebody up and bring their arm behind the back or put them in a compromised position so that you can pull them along. And yeah, T-handled walking cane. Good idea, Garen. That's a great idea. There's a nerve right here. And if you were here with me, I would show you by pressing firmly into that part of your arm. You can do that yourself if you want. A lot of those come-along techniques apply pressure using either this part or reaching in and under, and then using this part, can't do it myself, to apply pressure. And then come along means I'm gonna make you come along with me to the jail or to the detention center, wherever we're gonna go, to the back of the police car, to the hood of the police car, to the ground, mostly to the ground. I'm gonna make you come along until your face is in the ground, and then we're gonna wrap you up. And you know, it's your fault because you shouldn't have done that. All right, Seventh Son says, sorry I'm tardy. Seventh Son, I'm just happy that you're here. You can always rewatch this in a little bit. We were just going over a close quarters self-defense tool. It's one of the best that I think you could possibly use for close quarters combat because Garen says catch that funny bone right there, pop it. I know exactly where it is because I've been hit there so many times. But just these nerves. And if people don't come along, a lot of times the force is enough to break the bone, and then that makes them come along too, just the pain of that. But pressure points don't always work on every kind of person though. You have some people that just don't feel them, and then you have some people who are so hopped up on adrenaline or drugs or rage or craziness, they have a mental illness, and the pressure points don't work on them. But if you hit somebody right here and you put that muscle into a spasm, they're gonna, whether they feel it or not, they're not gonna be able to move. Or you hit them here and you crush that cartilage and you remove their ability to breathe, whether they're hopped up on something or not, it's not gonna matter because that's gonna take away their ability to breathe. And it doesn't matter if you hit a pressure point or not. Just remember, if you strike here, that's a fatal blow, especially with something like this. So that's life or death, your life or their death, or your life or your death or whatever. You know what I mean? Life or death. So you wanna avoid that one unless you really actually have to. Yeah, Michael says he thinks in California you probably have to stick with a cane. It's probably true. The vagus nerve, absolutely. You can strike into that nerve in the side, flush the blood out of their brain, they fall like a sack of crap.